Town Line Antiques has expanded with extra booth space. Now there are even more quality antiques to browse every time you visit. Plus, there are a limited number of dealer spaces now available. If you'd like to learn more about selling at Town Line Antiques, just stop in. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cold and windy this morning, and for today it will be cloudy with a chance for light snow showers this morning and midday, especially at the coast. Becoming brighter for the afternoon with highs just in the teens and low 20s. Sunny, still breezy tomorrow, highs around 20. Sunny, upper 20s on Sunday. Increasing clouds Monday and snow likely for Tuesday.
Light snow, light snow, light snow. Always light snow. 9:23. I wonder if this is any better. It did. It looked choppy to me, the video stream. So I'm gonna have to go back and make sure this is on all the platforms here. Sorry about that. If you're listening on the radio, looks like we've still got the same thing going, right? Okay, so this sucks. I have no idea. I'm gonna take a break, and I know we get complaint. There's something all the time, it seems, going on with this stream. So for the third time now, we're going to stop and restart. Go ahead, run the audio in here. Let me hear how it sounds. Yeah, looks like we've still got the same thing going, right? Okay, so the audio sounds okay. So yeah, why don't we just leave it? We'll just leave it. We've got the audio, and as long as the audio sounds good, somebody give me the heads up. Thank you, Cameron. Somebody give me the heads up if the audio craps out. And we'll restart it from there. But I'd rather not keep doing that. That's just a real annoyance. It's 24 past 9 o'clock right now. You've got Legacy 1160 WSKW. And Matt Gaetz yesterday, he's one of the young guys I was talking about, one of the new breed of congressmen. He's from Florida. And he went to Wyoming yesterday to campaign against Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney, the Republican, Dick Cheney's daughter, who voted to impeach Donald Trump, has shown herself to be an old school Republican at best, a rhino at worst. And the Republicans need to change. This change is long overdue because the Republican Party, as the Democrats have drifted more and more leftward, so has the Republican Party drifted more and more leftward. And they've become sort of, to the point that the old Democrats were. Now, there are still some classic Republicans left in the old Democrats and they're Republicans, and there's still some good, objective, moderate Democrats left among the old Democrats. But by and large, the Democrats have moved way left, and a lot of the older Republicans have moved left. So we need this shot in the arm of younger, right-wing, conservative, Constitution-believing, God-fearing, abortion-hating conservatives. And this is what the Republican Party needs to be about going forward. And this is what Matt Gaetz is about. Here is a little bit of his speech yesterday in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And I've got to tell you, from what I heard, it was absolutely fabulous. This is Matt Gaetz of Florida now.
I think if Liz Cheney had a rally with all of her supporters, they could likely meet inside one of the elevators in the Capitol and still have plenty of room for social distancing. I'll confess to you, this is my first time in Wyoming. I've been here for about an hour, and I feel like I already know the place a lot better than your misguided representative, Liz Cheney. My grandfather was a small-town mayor in not-too-distant North Dakota. He passed before his time, but not before passing into legend. And he passed along a little wisdom to my dad. My old man calls it prairie populism. Do right by your people. Never sell out. Fight their dislikes. And never let the powerful run over the weak.
That's perfect. There was more to that, too. There's a little bit more to that. But he's great. And I mean, that's the kind of young blood we need. I mean, we need that kind of energy, that kind of passion. It's all about passion, baby. It's all about attitude and passion. I've always believed that, and I believe it today. And that's, like me or not, and a lot of people don't. I get that people are turned off by too much passion, but they are the ones who are sorely lacking in conviction, I think. Because if you have conviction, doesn't passion automatically come with conviction? If you're convicted about, so I've got a lot of conviction about this country and about the rule of law and about right and wrong, about morals. And, and who am I to talk? You think I'm the most moral person in the world? I'm not. I know my weaknesses. I get that. I'm not here to profess to you that I am better than, holier than thou, because I'm not. A lot of people out there, probably you, a lot of people out there better than me. But I've got passion. If nothing else, I've got passion, and I do have conviction. Now, one of the big things in the news, and we've got to talk about this because it is huge. It really overtook everything yesterday. Robinhood. You know, Robin, I'm not talking about rob from the rich and give for the poor. Actually, this is just the opposite. Robinhood is the platform that Reddit users employed to do some brokering. Good for them. Bad for some of the Wall Street mainstays who were none too happy. They don't like to see regular people like you and me, trolls, as they call us, day trader trolls. They don't like to see people like you and me do well and they, at the same time, while they lose on the stock market, because they're the elitists. They are the so-called 1%, right? These are the guys who make money. It's mostly legal, a little unsavory, a little unorthodox, a little unethical maybe, but it's legal. And I'm not into the stock market that much. The stock market that I am into, somebody handles for me. I should be more involved. I've got to learn more about this stuff. And this is a case in point right here. So these Reddit users employed Robinhood, a brokerage platform. Now, this brokerage platform claims to be fair for everyone. However, yesterday, they started selling users stock without their permission. And now the company has been hit with a class action lawsuit accusing the stock trading app of siding with Wall Street hedge funds by blocking investors' ability to buy shares of, like GameStop, Nokia, AMC. It was a Reddit-fueled rally by people who had no business, at least according to the financial class, had no business to be anywhere near what they do, making money like they do. They aren't elite enough. They aren't smart enough, but they were. They were. So yesterday, Robinhood blocked its users from buying stock in GameStop and 12 other companies, citing recent volatility after a rally saw shares in the video game retailer GameStop soar 1,700% this month. Holy, and GameStop, it's one of these, I hate to sound negative, but it's a dying brand that, is in a lot of malls. I don't even know if we still have the GameStop in Augusta anymore. Maybe we do. And I certainly wish them well. It's a place where you go to buy actual video games. Who does that anymore? I've got games on my computer I just download on a platform called Steam. I mean, that's the way people are doing it now. But this is a brick and mortar store, and their stocks have not been doing that well. While this Reddit drive brought the stock prices way up. The company said that it would begin allowing limited buys. Now I'm talking about Robinhood, the platform, for some banned shares today. But it moved further with its restrictions yesterday afternoon, saying it would forcibly close certain stock positions if they were deemed too risky and involved large amounts of borrowed funds. That's what short trading is. It's borrowing stocks and hoping the bottom falls out and you can sell them back to the broker and, collect the difference, the way I understand it. But the stocks did not drop. The stocks went through the roof. And the block on buying the stocks appeared to have an instant impact on the market. The price of the stocks declined immediately. And many retail traders were devastated. And they filed class action lawsuits against Robinhood because they deprived retail investors of possible gains. And so a lot of these short traders ended up going to Google and giving Robinhood a 1-star rating. And the overall rating went from 3.5 stars down to 1 star. Google then took it upon itself, maybe with or without prompting, to delete more than 150,000 of those bad ratings. So what the hell good are ratings when you've got a company like Google that just says, no, we don't want them to look so bad, so we'll just go delete 150,000 of the bad ones and bring their rating back up. So what good are ratings? How can you even justify that? How can a company even justify deleting ratings because, they're too bad? There was a reason for them. There was a reason for the bad rating. Robinhood basically put the screws to people who are investing. And so they got a bad rating. And then Google deletes the bad ratings. So when you look at ratings, you have to wonder, don't you? I always wonder about ratings on things anyway, whether they're good or bad. I wonder, number one, I've got a new one now, so now there are two. I always wonder, number one, did a bunch of people that work for the company and all their friends go on there and give this company great ratings when the products actually suck, or they actually are subpar? You always wonder about that, right? And you like to see something with 10,000 different ratings or more. And then chances are that the ratings are more accurate than if there were just 500 or 1,000. But now you've got to wonder if they've got good ratings. Did a search engine like Google, Google, or any one of these other ratings companies, did they go in there and just delete the bad ones or maybe delete the good ones for whatever reason? So the manipulation that goes on online is disgusting, and we're going to see more of it. It's wrong, it's immoral, should be illegal, maybe it is, and it's just plain disgusting. Well, last night, Barstool Sports founder and CEO Dave Portnoy, who became known for day trading after the coronavirus pandemic halted sporting events, because that's his thing, he accused the heads of Robinhood of criminal behavior for preventing users from buying GameStop stock in an apparent assist to troubled hedge funds. So they were trying to help the hedge funds. They stopped these day traders. They stopped these short buyers. He thinks Robinhood is done. Here's what he told Tucker Carlson last night on Fox News. This is Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, an investor.
I've been trading heavily since quarantine started, and I was shocked by this. I personally did invest in AMC and Nokia. Those are two of the stocks that the Reddit guys and the Wall Street Bets guys were pushing. I believed in the power of the internet. When I saw what Robinhood was doing, ironically, Robinhood take from the rich and give to the poor, even though they do the exact opposite, I was stunned. I think it's criminal. I think there has to be an investigation. I think people have to go to jail. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. But I've never been more convinced about market manipulation and the people, the hedge funds, controlling the game than today. I mean, just to wake up and say, hey, you can't trade these stocks anymore. You can only sell them. We are going to intentionally crash the market in these stocks, and everyone who has it, tough, you're going to lose a ton of money, but we're going to save the rich people in the hedge funds. Shocking. Like in 20 years of me doing Barstool, I'm not exaggerating, it's the most shocked I've been, and maybe I shouldn't be, but, you know, when you have AOC and Donald Trump Jr. both on the same side of an issue, you know something's dramatically wrong.
Absolutely. Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports. And yeah, everything looks good with the stream. Thank you. I think I'm getting. We're back on YouTube too, right? I think we're everywhere. But I'm getting some odd messages. Rhino Radio. What do you mean, Chris? Got a guy named Chris said Rhino Radio. I don't know what that means. Talking about Republican in name only. If you're talking about this show, first of all, I'm not a Republican. I'm a libertarian. And second of all, I don't know what that means. I have no idea what it means. Maybe you could expand on that. 9:38 here on Legacy 1160. So Charles Payne over on Fox Business went on a tear against the hypocrites of Wall Street yesterday. This is epic.
I recommended many of these stocks on January 11th or before. I've got the report in my hand that I sent out to my subscribers, and here's the list. The shorts, first of all of this nonsense, all of this noise, all of this whining by Wall Street, it's making me sick. 140% of GameStop was short. I didn't hear one person on TV complaining about Wall Street trying to crush GameStop. 140% short. I told my subscribers, buy this stock, and they made a fortune. I also told them to buy Virgin Space. Virgin, we took profits on that today. Fizz, that's up huge. Tangers is up huge. Neil, you can't allow Wall Street to short 75% of a stock, and nobody says anything. Crush these companies into the dirt, and then when the individual investor makes money, everyone's up in arms. Oh, they're going to lose their shirt. Don't you think people are trading? If it traded 80 billion shares today, people are ringing the register. I have a kid who bought a house. He made $50,000 and bought a house. So yes, some people are going to lose and some are going to win. But if they want to change the rules of the game now because the general public is making money after decades of the shorts crushing thousands of stocks into the dirt. I have watched stocks being crushed completely to zero, and no one ever whispered anything because those stocks didn't have Wall Street sponsorship. They were small names. Maybe they went public through a reverse takeover. Whatever it was, the shorts have had their way with the market for decades. No one's ever complained about it. So I am thrilled. If you are going to try to destroy a company by shorting 140% of its stock, you have to accept the fact that individual investors are playing the same game that you're playing, and now you're losing.
And they don't like it. They don't like to lose. So they change the rules. This is so typical. I'm not saying these investors are politically motivated. I don't know. I don't know what their politics are. I'm not talking about the Reddit guys. I'm talking about the Wall Street investors. I don't know what their politics are. I'm sure there's left, right. I'm sure there's plenty to go around, and I'm sure none of them like it when regular people are onto their game and can play it better than they one-up them on anything. They don't like to be one-upped, right? Because they're winners. They are winners. They're professionals. This is their life. They sit at home or they go to, they work on Wall Street, a lot of them. They're stockbrokers. They are individuals who live their life. They live and die by the stock market. They know the stock. They see stocks in their sleep. Up, down, buy, sell, bull, bear, it's everything. And then these guys on Reddit, computer geeks maybe, I don't know what they are. They come in and they win the game. A game, one game, and these people are furious. I think it's hilarious. I truly think it's hilarious. Last night on Fox News, Tucker Carlson wondered what the new Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, might have to say about it. Now, Janet Yellen used to work for the Fed, the Federal Reserve. Now, I want you to listen to this. Listen to Tucker Carlson is brilliant on these types of things. Listen to Carlson, followed by a reporter's question, and then the really dumb, and I emphasize dumb and evasive answer given by Biden's press secretary, Jen Psaki. Here it is. And this starts out with Tucker Carlson.
Janet Yellen might have something interesting to say about all of this. Janet Yellen ran the Federal Reserve for years, beginning under Barack Obama. As much as any single person on earth, Janet Yellen is responsible for creating the distorted financial system that made the Reddit revolt possible, indeed inevitable. So where's Janet Yellen now? And what does she have to say for herself? Oh yeah, as of last week, Janet Yellen is Joe Biden's Treasury Secretary. Here's what Joe Biden's flack had to say yesterday about Janet Yellen.
Is the White House concerned about the stock market activity we're seeing around GameStop and now with some other stocks as well, including the subsidiary or whatever, the company that was Blockbuster? And have there been any conversations with the SEC about how to proceed?
Well, I'm also happy to repeat that we have the first female Treasury Secretary and a team that's surrounding her, and often questions about market we'll send to them. But our team is, of course, our economic team, including Secretary Yellen and others, are monitoring the situation. It's a good reminder, though, that the stock market isn't the only measure of the health of our economy. It doesn't reflect how working and middle class families are doing.
So as her first answer, Jen Psaki is, quote, happy to repeat that Janet Yellen is the first female Treasury Secretary. Let's translate. Actually, Janet Yellen has nothing to say about Reddit or GameStop or short selling or even the dangerously corrupt condition of American finance more broadly. She hasn't thought about those things, probably doesn't even care. Janet Yellen herself has made millions from hedge funds, including from funds that lost money to the Reddit guys. But whatever, buzz off. We'd like to remind you that Janet Yellen is a woman, and so are many of the people around her. These brave leaders have broken glass ceilings. They are empowered, and that's enough. We can't give you an answer. We won't improve your life, but we do have diversity, so you should be happy. That's their position. Has there ever been in all human history a clearer distillation of the essence of neoliberalism than that? Probably there never has been. Maybe at this point, people will start to catch on to the game. Suddenly, people are catching on to a lot of things, it looks like. Looking back, we may see the Reddit guys and their effective defense of GameStop as a kind of turning point in this country's history. Whatever our current system is, it is definitely not the capitalism we were promised. Not even close.
Could this change things up a little bit? How many people are going to try Reddit out now? Have you ever been on Reddit? I've got a Reddit account. I'm seldom on there. I go there once in a while to get answers about things because there's some really smart people on there. But it's Reddit. And if you want to check it out, I mean, who knows? You may get into a group like this, and they formed sort of a union, if you will, a group to buy all this stock and drive the GameStop stock through the roof. It went from like what, $10-20 to over $300 a share for GameStop. People made money, and then, of course, Robin Hood brought an end to it yesterday. See what happens today. I'm sure more is going to come out about this, and I'm sure you're going to see a lot more people getting into trading now. This was huge. We have no idea how huge this was. And I wonder how many people in politics now are going to try to get on the bandwagon. And the thing is, who said it? Was it David Portnoy? Somebody said it, that when you have AOC and Donald Trump Jr. agreeing on something, it's a strange day. Now, they were agreeing on that for different reasons, but they agreed it was a great thing that happened with these Reddit guys making some money while the Wall Street mainstays lost big. So we'll see. We'll wait and see. But it might make you think a little bit more about investing and, the benefits that you could. I mean, it's a risk. But life is a risk. Depends on how much you want to risk. I'm never confident enough that I would dare risk it all or even half or even a quarter. But I'd like to risk a little at a time. You can buy penny stocks. You can buy a bunch. There are different ways you can start investing just to learn the routine and, get into it bigger and better. Your IRA, your 401k, that's an investment. That is nothing more than an investment in the stock market. You're playing a game. You're hedging your bets. That's how it works. Hopefully you're going to be a big winner. Hopefully I'm going to be a big winner. It's up and down. The mistake a lot of people make is when it's down, they take all their money out. I've seen people do that. The stock market's down, they check the 401k, and oh my word, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell this. I'm getting rid of this. I'm going to take out all my money, pay the penalties, call it good, and buy, I don't know, a motorcycle, buy a snowmobile, buy something, get something for myself. To hell with my retirement. Well, okay. That you're hedging a bet there too. But then the stock market comes back up and everybody else is celebrating how high their 401k is, and you took yours out at a lower rate, lower payout, and you paid taxes on it. So it makes you wonder. It makes you want to look into it more, doesn't it? It does me, and I think I'm going to. Not that I have a lot of money to invest, but I got a little bit I can play around with, $5-10 here and there. It's 9:48 right now on Legacy 1160. Got to take a break. We'll be right back to talk about a couple of pompous narcissists. Oh, this will be fun.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Sales and service by a family who cares. Whittemore and Sons, Whittemore and Sons.
There are some things you can simply never depend on, like buying grapes at the grocery store. Will this bag be sweet? Will it be sour? Who knows? They look the same. But know that you can always count on Whittemore & Sons in our line of Coyote tractors. Coyote tractors are machines made to work, whether it's mowing, tilling, digging, lifting, or hauling. Check out the full line of tough and versatile Coyote tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales in service for over 50 years. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
From work to fun, we'll help you get it done. Whittemore & Sons. Outdoor power equipment.
The beginning of the new year has brought along with it incredible deals on new Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles during the Start Something New sales event going on now at Hite Chrysler Dodge Jeep. Start shopping at HiteChryslerDodgeJeep.com or stop by 507 Lakewood Road, Clowes Corner, Madison.
Your pep rally for freedom is back, powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hey, welcome back. It's so nice it's Friday. That's a good thing. Isn't it? I think it's good. Very cold. It's going to be a very cold weekend here in Maine. It was down to around, I guess it must have been close to 0 overnight. Did I hear that right? Coming in this morning, close to around 0 or so. It was 14 when I drove in here at about 8:30. So it's probably a little bit lower than that. It could, it's interesting to me. It always interests me. When I get up in the morning, it's cold, but then it seems as the morning starts out, it always gets colder as the sun comes up. And then it sort of levels out. So, I don't know, maybe it wasn't 0, but it sure felt like it this morning compared to the temperatures we've had lately, which really haven't been too bad. 9:51, well, New York Attorney General Letitia James. Ha! Great name. Letitia. Wait a minute, I've got to check the feed here. I've got a sneaking suspicion. Are we okay? Is this all choppy still? It looks a little choppy. Can you send the audio in? Let me hear the audio. Letitia. Wait a minute, I've just got to... Okay, yeah, the audio sounds good. Sorry, I don't mean... You're not hearing double. I just checking the only way I can check the audio is on the air when I'm on the air. So there you go. So Letitia James is the New York Attorney General. She's a Democrat. She said the state's Department of Health underreported COVID-19 deaths in nursing homes by as much as 50%. Per Fox News, the report holds New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's feet to the fire for his handling of the coronavirus pandemic in the early months after he directed nursing homes to accept patients who were suspected of having COVID-19. That decision created an onslaught of COVID-19 cases that infected thousands of elderly people and resulted in thousands of deaths. Letitia James said in a statement, as the pandemic and our investigations continue, it is imperative that we understand why the residents of nursing homes in New York unnecessarily suffered at such an alarming rate. While we cannot bring back the individuals we lost to this crisis, the report seeks to offer transparency that the public deserves and spur increased action to protect our most vulnerable residents. Now, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has been criticized roundly over the state's nursing home deaths, even before this came out from Letitia James, the Attorney General. So the author of the how-to book on being a leader during the China virus is now a proven opportunist, phony, with blood on his hands. So the original estimate of patients killed by Cuomo's malpractice was more than 6,200. So unless I'm missing something, that would put the number of killings by Cuomo at somewhere around 12,500. Nice work, Elder Slayer. He wrote a book, how to manage, how to be a leader during a pandemic. During the pandemic, after he had killed all these people, he wrote this pompous, sorry-ass book that people actually bought, apparently, and gave him 4+ star ratings, unless he made his staff go on Amazon and give him good ratings for it. Maybe he did. How dare he? He's not even living in the real world. The guy is not even, he's out to lunch. He's mentally incapable of governing a state. Not only does he not own it when he does anything wrong, in fact, he does nothing wrong. In fact, if you would ask him about all of his past sins, I bet he wouldn't find a blemish. I bet he would say, well, I'm as perfect as the Lord. Because he never accepts any responsibility for anything bad. Instead, he blames it on Donald Trump. That's what he does. And he's too self-righteous, so self-righteous, that he writes a book about his expertise and his leadership after he knows he's killed over 12,000 older people. Good going. So this is interesting. Fox meteorologist Janice Dean lost both in-laws in nursing homes due to Cuomo's negligence and non-compassion and malpractice. She got very emotional yesterday talking with Harris Faulkner about this news from Letitia James that just came out. She is very happy to see that somebody is finally being truthful. Here's Janice Dean with Harris Faulkner.
Fox News senior meteorologist Janice Dean lost both of her in-laws to the virus last year while they were in separate elder care facilities in New York City. And it has been an emotional journey, Janice. We are on it with you. And now it is one filled with some damning facts.
I don't really know what to say. When I saw the report and I knew that it was coming probably an hour before it was released, I called my husband and I called my sister-in-law and I said that maybe the angels won. Maybe the angels will have their day in court and maybe this governor will be held accountable, Harris. I didn't want to be in this position. I'm not a political person, but my family was affected and I wasn't seeing the coverage. I wasn't seeing the questions being asked of this governor. He continued to pass the blame on everyone else and everything else. And he still, to this day, will not accept any responsibility. And there were lawsuits and there were journalists that wanted to do good and get those numbers for all of the families that deserved them. And finally, today, there is a ray of light. There is sunshine in darkness. And I thank this Attorney General. I know that there have been thousands of families that have written letters and have wanted to have answers. And I'm so grateful on behalf of all of them for giving me love and support, because this is never a role I thought I would ever be in, Harris. But I'm so grateful today that justice might be served.
Unreal. You can't bring him back, though, huh? Thank you, Andrew Cuomo. There are literally thousands, tens of thousands of people in New York that feel like Janice Dean does, who lost people they love unnecessarily because of Andrew Cuomo, self-righteous, smug son of a bee, who shouldn't be anywhere near a leadership post. But because we have such a dumb electorate in this country, and getting dumber by the day, academia is making them dumber. You're paying tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to send kids off to higher education, and they're coming out dumber than they were. Socially ignorant. And have no idea about the U.S. Constitution and history. And right from wrong. They are coming out more morally corrupt than they went in. If they went in morally corrupt, if they went in moral, they come out morally corrupt, many of them. 9:59, back with more mook-worthy stories from... Thank you, man. Thank you, Drew. I appreciate it, buddy. Robert, yes, the Pelosi's did. They bought some stocks in Tesla right before this green, I don't know, you can't call it the Green New Deal, but it certainly included parts of the Green New Deal, didn't it? And you know what? And Nancy Pelosi, there was insider information here. You bet there was. You bet there was. Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi like that, baby. They are like that. You don't think she had she knew what was coming? Joe Biden aimed to drive the cost of gas and diesel through the roof, which he's going to do. Let's see how fast it happens. Even if the coronavirus wasn't around, you may not be going anywhere this summer because you probably won't be able to afford it. They are predicting, I heard this, I don't know as I believe this, but they've predicted prices up to $8 a gallon for gasoline under Joe Biden. Couple that with a $15 an hour minimum wage, free health care for all, open borders, open the prisons, let them all out, let them run free. Yeah, boy, America's going to look like a different country in about a year. I don't think Joe Biden's going to be at the head of it either, by the way. I don't know who's running it now, but it can't be Joe Biden. Joe Biden yesterday, I don't know if you saw the video. You could barely make it out, but what he said, he opened one of these executive orders. By the way, he's signing executive orders, you know, like a teacher signs report cards, just zim, zim, zim. He said, I don't know what I'm signing. He said that. He said, I don't know what I'm signing here. He had no clue. The man is clueless. I don't know. I'm going to stop. You know the deal. You know the thing. We'll be right back after the news. I'm John James.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Alex Perche. Promising results from the trial of another coronavirus vaccine candidate. Johnson & Johnson says results of its phase 3 trial showed
the measurements that we reported are right now 85% protection against this measurement of severe COVID.
That's research and development head Dr. Matai Mamin. Unlike the vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson's requires a single dose. Data will now be reviewed by the FDA for emergency use authorization. New case numbers and hospitalizations declined for the second week in a row. But the first case of the South African variant confirmed in the U.S. were seen in South Carolina. The Biden administration says it will not split the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package into smaller chunks. Investors can once again buy shares of GameStop. Restrictions were lifted by brokerages like Robinhood, which put them in place amid the ongoing battle between investors and short sellers. This is ABC News. American consumers slowing down spending in December. The Commerce Department says spending dropped by 0.2%. But ABC's Todd Ant says more people are spending more on smokes.
Before the pandemic, cigarette sales in the U.S. had been falling. But as the virus forced more people around the country to quarantine, more Americans decided to light up. And health concerns around e-cigarettes caused some vapors to switch back to cigarettes. With more time at home and more spending cash, people had more opportunities to smoke, according to data released Thursday by Marlboro maker Altria Group. Cigarette smoking is associated with more than 480,000 deaths in the U.S. each year. Todd Ant, ABC News.
2 convicted criminals who spent 5 days on the run after escaping from an Arizona prison have been recaptured. One was serving 35 years, the other 100. The pair didn't make it too far. They were caught in a field about 14 miles from the prison. Alex Perche, ABC News.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Smoothbrook, Illinois.
KFC's Colonel Sanders here. We all love sitting down to a home-cooked meal with family. But there's rarely enough hours in the day to do the cooking. So let me do the cooking for you. Well, not me personally, that's just a turn of phrase. Your KFC will do the actual cooking. The point is, let someone else do the home cooking for you. Come to KFC and pick up a $20 fill-up. That's 8 pieces of chicken or 12 tenders and all the fixings to feed your family. Order ahead at KFC.com. Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. $20 fill-up not available with delivery. Tax and substitution extra. Delivery service and additional fees may apply.
You're listening to Freedom's Pep Rally on Legacy 1160, where Black voices matter.
History is about learning from it. I don't want to see us become like the Taliban or ISIS. Those are the people that destroy history.
How can you have systemic discrimination in Chicago when the leadership is minority? I know what systemic discrimination is. It does not exist.
If you say all lives matter, which is true, that includes Black lives, ladies and gentlemen, you get fired.
Here's your Pep Rally host, John James.
Hey, welcome back. Friday. Weekend is ahead. It's going to be a pretty good weekend, I guess. Snow next week, it looks like. For most of Maine, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait for the forecast coming up a little later on this hour. Sorry, I was posting something there as we spoke. Happy birthday going out today to Oprah Winfrey, 67 years old. Oprah! Now, if you'd like to send her a gift, she likes Twinkies, apparently. I don't know if you were thinking about that or not. And let's see, what else do we have? We have another birthday here someplace, don't we? Oh, yeah, former Vice President Dick Cheney is 80. Now, if you want to send him a gift, he likes torture devices. Speaking of torture devices, his daughter Liz Cheney is kind of a torture device to Republicans in the Congress, in the House of Representatives. Matt Gaetz out campaigning against her yesterday in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So there is that. 207-621-9759. You want to talk to me? Let's do a voice thing if you'd like. I'll try to watch the phones, although I do miss calls occasionally. 207-621-9759. And it would appear I've got a dead text line. Hold on. Boy, I cannot bend down as quickly as I used to. That's where the charger is. I have to plug that sucker in. And I will fire it up. How does that battery go dead so much? So quickly, I should say. I mean, it just sits here. And we except for on Mike's show and my show, we don't generally get any texts. You know, occasionally, but not usually. 10:07 on Legacy 1160. Well, let's talk about some more space cadets. Some more pompous narcissists. Who is more pompous and narcissistic than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? I would venture to say nobody. And maybe nobody is more dumb either. I don't know. So she's now a leader in the Congress. She seems to have taken everybody, including the older people, the ancient people like Nancy Pelosi, taking them much further to the left, single-handedly by, well, her and the squad. But her especially, she's like the leader of the squad. AOC, she is leader of the squad. She was a communist bartender. Did you know that? AOC. She'd mix you a drink and then redistribute it to 3 other people before you got the glass, which was then only a quarter full. Redistributing the drink. I mean, that's her early days of communism. Now she's trying to spread the love among the rest of us here in the United States. So one of her big fanboys, Chris Hayes, sat with his boyish grin, nodding approvingly as she said the GOP caucus has white supremacist sympathizers in it. How about that? Did you know that?
I actually sense a profound difference between the Republican caucus of last term, the 115th Congress, and the Republican caucus of this term that we are now, a few weeks into at this point. And that difference was that it really felt that last term, the Republican caucus was one of extreme fealty to Donald Trump. There were some that were true believers, others that simply remained quiet out of cowardice and out of fear of the president's retribution. But this term, there are legitimate white supremacist sympathizers that sit at the heart and at the core of the Republican caucus.
Because it's a Democrat rule. It's a Democrat rule, and that rule states in the Democrat mission statement, we cannot let racism go away, or we will lose our power over minorities. So then, who are the real racists? Well, let me tell you who the real racists are. The Democrats. The Democrats are the party oppressing people of other races, and they simultaneously say, you need us to help you out. You're nothing without us. You should be thankful you have people like we, the Democrats, who care so much about you. And they say it with a straight face. As long as they can perpetuate the big lie in a convincing way, they will continue to have power over the non-racists in America, who are mainly conservatives, by the way. Are heads exploding out there? Call me, and I always say dissenters welcome. I always make that offer, and you're welcome to call. I don't think you will, but you're welcome to. I'll talk with you. I will let you speak your mind. I think that's good radio, and I think that's fair radio. We're nothing if we aren't fair. So it's offered. Take it. I offer it every single day I'm on the radio. 207-621-9759. We've got more AOC stuff. AOC is out of her mind. She says that a Republican senator by the name of Ted Cruz tried to have her killed. All right, are we talking about the same Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz of Texas, attorney, brilliant man, tried to have her killed. She's out there. She's woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. That's AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted out, "I'm happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any other GOP that aren't trying to get me killed." She says it twice in that tweet. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can resign. Twitter.com/Ted Cruz. That's who she tagged. Media Research Center retweeted it. They said, a deranged member of Congress accusing a U.S. senator of attempted murder. If Trump had lied like this, you would have shut him down. Suspend AOC or prove your leftist bias. That was from the Media Research Center. Another comment was directed to Twitter, suspend at AOC or prove your leftist bias. I guess that was the hashtag. Ocasio-Cortez got a lot more pushback on that, and I don't have any of the tweets that followed it up. Now, she was assuming that Ted Cruz was responsible for people who had rioted and vandalized the Capitol on January 6th. We know there were some Antifa in there, too. But they can't talk about that. They just cannot do it. The riot was the basis for the House vote, without witnesses or evidence, to impeach Donald J. Trump. That was the impetus for the impeachment. There's no evidence, no witnesses, nothing. Just like in the last impeachment. These people are so miserable. They are so miserable and so diabolical that they will not, even after there's a new sitting president, and constitutionally they can impeach Donald Trump. Chuck Schumer said, we're going to impeach him. Well, then, what the hell? Let's go after Obama. There's plenty in his past. What was Joe Biden said? We had an administration free of any corruption, free of any scandals. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? What was the Fast and the Furious? What was Obamagate? You had tons of scandals, but you had a leftist DOJ. They shouldn't be left or right, but you had John Brennan. You had Clapper. You had James Comey. Give me a frickin' break. You had Lisa Page and Peter Stroke Smirk. Of course there were no scandals. They had, the DOJ had your back. The ones who were supposed to enforce the law were helping you to keep from having it pushed upon them. So not that it would matter at this point. We aren't that petty. They are just petty fools. They're petty fools. They just can't stop thinking about Trump. And besides, the main goal of the impeachment, the main thing they want to do, even with censure, they want to try to do this. They want to try to stop you and me from ever being able to vote for him again by making him ineligible to run for anything ever. This is what they want to do because they don't trust that you and I will make the right decision. They think, including people like Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney wants to take it out of our hands. She's no Republican. She is a complete rhino. Complete rhino. Much akin to Susan Collins. who also agrees with making it so Donald Trump can't run for re-election or election again. Susan Collins. She's got to be primaried. I wrote her a letter last night. I went to her page, and I don't know if I'll hear back from her or not. I may. I mean, she does. I will give her that. She is very good about reaching out a lot of times personally to talk with people. So I'll give her that. But I said, why would you do this? Why would you subject us to not being able to vote for whoever we want to? Why is that even, how is that even American? How is that even constitutional? When the president did nothing wrong. I can see getting impeached, having him impeached, convicted, and not be able to run again if he did anything wrong and or if he was still in office. But neither of those apply. Susan Collins, come on. Come on. Give us some glimmer of hope in our main delegation, because we have literally nobody at this point. Nobody we can praise. Nobody. We have to go to Florida to find a Matt Gaetz, or to South Carolina to find a Tim, what's his name? Tim Scott. Thank you. Senator Tim Scott. I mean, we have to go to other parts of the country to heap praise on anybody in Congress, because Maine doesn't have anybody. Nobody. And the one we talk about least, who has done the least probably, is Shelley Pingree. She's just taken up space. What has she ever done? The only thing I know of that Shelley Pingree has ever done is, I remember her sitting there in that kumbaya moment overnight. They were sitting in the House overnight until gun control was addressed. Kumbaya. They were singing something, some peacenik song. Sure, she had her tie-dye on, maybe her flowers in her hair, Birkenstocks on her feet. That's what I picture. All right, let me see. Oh, is that right? Yeah, I just posted that. She'll email an automated response. Yeah. Well, I know her somewhat. Mike knows her better than I do. I don't know if Mike's written her yet. I still haven't heard about Mike's test. Mike was going to let me know. I just wanted to make sure our buddy's good. And I have not heard from him yet. I'll let you know as soon as Mikey texts me, though. So, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says that Senator Ted Cruz tried to murder her. Wow. The Houston Chronicle said that if Cruz was trying to extend an olive branch to U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it certainly didn't go as planned. Cruz went on Twitter to agree with Cortez yesterday in her demand for congressional hearings into how and why financial services company Robinhood Markets blocked retail investors from trading stocks. Again, they're on the same side of this one. So that was kind of an olive branch. But apparently Ocasio-Cortez still didn't buy it. She's still claiming she was terrified for her life during the January 6th breach of the Capitol. She blames Ted Cruz, and she blames others too, by the way. Josh Hawley, she blames him. She apparently connects Cruz to the rioters because he was one of the many members of Congress who objected to the Electoral College electors being confirmed, because there was evidence of fraud. There was plenty of evidence of fraud. There just was. They don't like to admit it, but there was. There was a ton of evidence of fraud. Was it enough to turn the election? I personally think there may have been. Other Republicans are saying, oh, I don't know if it could have turned the election, but we'd at least like to get answers. Well, yeah. So that's why AOC said that Ted Cruz was trying to kill her. So after the January 6th event, she said she was traumatized. I get that. I believe she was traumatized. Who wouldn't be? But she didn't stop there with this video tweet. Listen to her.
Wednesday was an extremely traumatizing event. And it is not an exaggeration to say that many, many members of the House were nearly assassinated.
Nearly assassinated?
It's just not an exaggeration to say that at all. We were very lucky. I had a pretty traumatizing event happen to me. And I do not know if I can even disclose the full details of that event due to security concerns. But I can tell you that I had a very close encounter where I thought I was going to die.
I don't know about that encounter. I have no idea about that encounter. Many members of the House were nearly assassinated? Wow. There was a single gunshot. It was from a security officer's gun, killing an unarmed woman named Ashley Babbitt, who was a soldier. How do we know? How do we know that she exaggerates and is a drama queen? Well, go back a few minutes. She just claimed Ted Cruz tried to kill her. And you know how I always say, whatever they say about us, whatever the left says about the right is a reflection on them? Here's a case in point from AOC herself. Plenty of AOC clips because she just loves to be heard. She once said she didn't know if she was even going to stay in Congress. Oh, give me a break. This woman is so narcissistic, so self-important, so self-righteous. She'll never leave when she can be in the spotlight. Just the number of Twitter followers she's got will keep her in Congress, if nothing else. It's that allure of fame. That's why I stay here. So AOC, you might remember, was among the first to call for defunding the police. Now, listen to what she's saying.
I don't want to hear or see the Republican Party talk about blue lives ever again. This was never about safety for them. It was always a slogan. Because if they actually cared about rule of law, they would speak up when people break the law. They would speak up.
They did.
They would enforce fairness and equity, but they don't give a damn about the law. No. They don't give a damn about order. They don't give a damn about safety. They give a damn about white supremacy. They care about preserving the social order and the mythology of whiteness than the grandeur of our democracy. That's what they care about. They lust for power more than they care about democracy.
There you go. There you go. Boom, right there. There you go. The echoes coming right back at her. She is actually saying that to herself and the rest of the Democrat socialists, the rest of the leftists. Can you believe she just said that? But her audience loves her. Oh, my word. They swarm to her feet. They swarm to her feet because she is so right. All we care about is the myth of whiteness and white supremacy. We don't give a damn about the law or about democracy. Really? Really, AOC? You fool. You stinking fool. Wow. I mean, I've heard some dumb things out of her mouth, but that probably is so far the icing on the cake. But I'm sure there's plenty more dumb stuff coming from her. Just give it time. She always one-ups herself on the scale of dumbness, doesn't she? Amazing. And she's, by the way, oh, you're going to love this. This anti-capitalist, this pro-socialist, socialism is good for you and me, right? Socialism's good for you and me. Redistribution of wealth of those who have worked their lives, given up most of their lives to make a good product, a good business, a good company, a good model for capitalism, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Microsoft or Apple, or, a number of smaller companies. People put their lives into making money and giving and redistributing wealth through having people work for them and paying them. They put their lives into this. And therefore, others only have to work an 8 or 10-hour day to reap some of the benefits of this person's work. Well, this person should be able to make as much as they want to, because they have given up a lot in life. A lot in life, and you can't really put a price tag on that, can you? You can't put a price tag. Some people get lucky. Some people have an invention, boom, and it's one and done, and they're rich. But more often than not, it takes a lot of work, a lot of 15, 16-hour days, a lot of full weeks, a lot of no social circle, a lot of no anything except seeing the goal. You see the reward, you see where you are, and you strive to get there. You don't take your eye off the prize. That takes dedication. So the person who reaps the benefits of that should get to keep the benefits. And then if they need help, they hire people like Jeff Bezos has done. He's a good socialist, right? Well, he's a socialist who seems to like capitalism pretty good. And AOC is no different. It's good for thee, but not for me. That's her outlook on capitalism. Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, tweeted out a video of himself wearing a Tax the Rich fleece from the AOC store. It had AOC's logo on it. So AOC is making money. How much money is AOC making on these things? Well, here is somebody who cares for the poor people, who wants everybody to have access to everything. But listen to the price tag on these shirts and listen to the offer Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, makes to her. Go ahead, roll the audio.
Hey, Mr. Wonderful here. I want to talk about fashion. I want to talk about capitalism. I want to talk about socialism. I want to talk about gross margins. Let me show you something. Check this out. I look spectacular in this. I was walking on the beach earlier today, right out there. See that? Everybody wants to buy this off me. I got this from the official AOC site. Now let's talk about gross margins. Check this out. Yep, official AOC shop. I paid $67.22 for this. I'm going to guess she lands this, or, basically for, $6. It's fleeceware. And $5 for shipping. That's 85% gross margin. That's spectacular. Listen, you know what this proves? Inside of every socialist, there's a capitalist screaming to get out. AOC, call me. We could blow this thing up together. We could make a fortune. I only want 7% royalty. That's being reasonable. Call me.
Yeah. Kevin O'Leary. He paid $67 for that AOC fleece that says tax the rich. $67. And he figures it cost her about $6. And this guy knows. Kevin O'Leary, he knows the cost of business. He can figure it out real quick. So with shipping, she's got $11 into it. She's making $67. Now, if she cares so much about people and wants to redistribute the wealth, why doesn't she start with herself? Why didn't she sell them for, you got to figure, somebody's got to make them. So, put the logos and stuff on it. So figure they cost at most $20. So why couldn't you sell it for $30 and make a $10 profit, or $25 and make a $5 profit? You're making bank there in Washington, D.C. You're making what, $185,000 a year now? Why do you need to rip people off wearing these shirts? I wouldn't buy one. I wouldn't pay 2 cents for one. But if I thought I could get rich selling them, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I'm a capitalist, baby. I will not compromise. You're compromising yourself. No, I'm not. I'm not going to have my name on them. I'll sell them if I can make a profit on them, big profit. One place I will not compromise, though, is with my voice, because I do all these ads and things, and I get auditions for a lot of campaign ads and a lot of ads for referendums. And I will not do anything I don't agree with. I will not voice anything for a Democrat or a leftist or a leftist cause or anything like that. I check that out before I even audition. I check out to see if the person's conservative, what their beliefs are, or, what the issue is before I do that. So I will not compromise on that. But I'll sell Obama hats and AOC shirts all day long if I can make money to give myself and my family a better station in life. Am I going to do it? I doubt it. I mean, if I'm going to look for a way to make money, probably one of the last ways I'm going to look is selling stuff for lefties. But if that was the only thing left, I'm saying, yeah, I'd do it. Why not, right? It's 10:33 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Hold on, I've got to catch my computer up here real quick. All right, we're looking good. Is it a possibility Donald Trump could still win Arizona? Little late, don't you think? I don't know. That now Arizona is the reason, I think, in large part, that Fox went down the crapper. I almost said something else. Because they called, when Mike Violette and I were here till 11 o'clock. Now, the time difference in Arizona is what, 2 or 3 hours? So it's earlier there. So we're out of here at 11 o'clock on election night. I jump in my truck, so it's about 11:15 or so. I'm headed down Western Avenue. And Fox News, I'm listening to Fox News live on the radio, and they've called Arizona. So it's not even 2 hours after the polls closed in Arizona, and Fox News is calling it. And it's been debated ever since. And now, according to NBC, the Republican chair of Arizona's State House, the Ways and Means Committee, introduced a bill yesterday that would give the legislature authority to override the Secretary of State's certification of electoral votes. Now, of course, that won't do anything. The only thing it could do, and this is a big if, I mean, I'm beyond ifs at this point. I've got absolutely, I think the chances of anything coming of this are very slim in Arizona, let alone spreading to other states saying, well, Arizona just overturned their electoral votes, and maybe we ought to look at it. No, that's not going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. But Shauna Bolick, who is a GOP rep, introduced the bill which rewrites part of the state's election law, such as sections on election observers and securing and auditing ballots, among other measures. One section grants the legislature, which is currently under GOP control, the ability to revoke the Secretary of State's certification by majority vote at any time before the presidential inauguration. Now, the legislature may take action pursuant to this subsection without regard to whether the legislature is in regular or special session or has held committee or other hearings on the matter. Now, it did say what I just read to you, and I did question this earlier because it did say before the presidential inauguration, but apparently, according to NBC News, or maybe this is just going forward, it's yeah, okay, that's what I thought. The way that it was very convoluted, the way they made it sound is they were going to try to overturn the state certification of electoral votes this time. Okay, so they will be able to in the future. Okay, so I guess he can't still win Arizona. That was a very, very misleading tease. I will apologize to you for that now. Good morning, Mikkel. Good morning, Robert. Oh, Shannon, welcome to the show. Derica, she is a piece of work. AOC. Robert, Casey, thank you all for being here. And it's great to see us a lot of the same names. Great to see some newer names coming in this week as well. Please, as always, I ask that you, if you are willing to, share. It sure would be appreciated. And the video still looks a little stuttery to me. But as long as the audio isn't, that's really all I care about. And nobody is saying that it is, so I assume we're okay. Doesn't look great. No, that's not me. I don't have any kind of a shake to me. Not this morning anyway. Maybe tonight. I don't know. Depends on how the night goes. It's 10:38, and we'll be right back with news on David Hogg and Lauren Bolbert of Colorado. This is epic. Stick around.
1160 WSKW.
Townline Antiques wants to know, what are you shopping for today? Searching for furniture to add to your home? Townline Antiques has beautiful pieces of furniture for every room, built to last with quality materials from the past. Thinking of decorating in a classic style? You'll find enchanting home decor, artwork, glassware, and hundreds more items around every corner. Do you collect books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics? Townline Antiques has cool, rare, and one-of-a-kind items to add to your collection that you won't find anywhere else. If you love searching through the treasures of the past, here's more great news. Townline Antiques has expanded with extra booth space. Now there are even more quality antiques to browse every time you visit. Plus, there are a limited number of dealer spaces now available. If you'd like to learn more about selling at Townline Antiques, just stop in. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cold and windy this morning and for today. It will be cloudy with a chance for light snow showers this morning and midday, especially at the coast. Becoming brighter for the afternoon with highs just in the teens and low 20s. Sunny, still breezy tomorrow, highs around 20. Sunny, upper 20s on Sunday. Increasing clouds Monday and snow likely for Tuesday.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hey, buddy. How are you? Where am I going to get I've got a friend looking for an AR-15 or a Mini 14. And I'm doing some shopping right now. Now I'm going to check the gun shop. Yes, I am. That's my first stop. I know a lot of people are selling out of the AR-15s. The Mini 14s are great, but they're a little more difficult to find. But everybody's worried with these upcoming mandates, perhaps executive orders. I wouldn't doubt it because Kamala Harris said she would give 100 days for the legislature to pass some kind of an AR ban or buyback edict, and then she would implement an executive order. So there we go. Here we go. Gun control. They're going to want you to sell you're saying, why would you buy an AR-15 if they're going to just ask for them back? Let me say two things to that, okay? Number one, because we can. And number two, hashtag, we will not comply. All right? There you go. Here are the two things that Biden had floated. Of course, he lies. He lies like a rug. That's the way Joe is. Joe lies And he has lied. He's told mistruths. We're finding him. He's said mistruths. He said he wouldn't ban fracking. What's he done? He's banned fracking. He says he's not against the oil industry. Now he hates the oil industry. He's banned fracking and drilling on federal lands. He stopped the Keystone XL pipeline, all by executive order. He says, "Oh, we need we need to have everybody agree on this. We need a consensus on these things. You can't, if you just govern by executive order, you're a dictator." Well, he is governed by executive order more than any president in our history so far. Yesterday, he actually said, "I don't know what I'm signing." He didn't know what the heck he was signing. Did you hear the speech where he said Donald Trump was still president? He referred to President Trump, and I didn't get the audio. Maybe I could find it, but you can look it up. Said president, then he said former president. The guy can't think. No, he banned drilling. He banned drilling. No, next year, this is in answer to a YouTube question, not grilling. No, that's next year. When we have to do away with cow farts and we will have to stop eating meat, they will do away with grilling. You've heard about this. One woman in Massachusetts or New York or someplace actually asked for a ban on grilling in her neighborhood while she was out running because the smell of meat offended her. The smell of meat cooking on the grill offended her. So she asked that the neighbors not be allowed to grill while she was out jogging. This is almost to the point of brain dead. It really is. I mean, the cows have more intelligence than these people. If they just weren't so damn tasty. 10:45 here on Legacy 1160, and David Hogg. Hogs are good too, really, if you get the right parts of them, the bacon and the ham. But this, I don't think this guy'd be too tasty. He's sort of a child, I guess. He's a child. He's grown up, but he's still acts like a child. You know what he is? He's a man boy. Parkland shooting survivor David Hogg, an anti-gun man-child. He stays in the spotlight by making a statement every once in a while. This time, he picked a fight with Lauren Bolbert. She is the freshman congresswoman from Rifle, Colorado. She owns Shooter's Grill. There was somebody killed outside of her restaurant at one time. So what she did is she requires gun training for all of her waitstaff. All of her waitstaff, including her, open carry in the restaurant. They carry firearms. Bolbert said, and she did a couple of videos on this, that she will carry her gun to and from the Capitol because D.C. is a dangerous place and she wants protection when she's alone. She's been highly criticized by people who just plain hate that there's a Second Amendment. Hogg, eat it, Hogg, being one of them. For those who don't know, that's why Waterville's former mayor, Nick Isgro, was under fire and lost his job because he said, "Eat it, Hogg." Another one who is saying that Lauren Bolbert's assertion that she should be able to carry a gun on Capitol grounds is being criticized by people like AOC, who says she doesn't feel safe. She doesn't feel safe with somebody like Lauren Bolbert, a law-abiding gun owner carrying a gun on Capitol grounds. She doesn't feel safe. AOC, they're going to kill me. Such a dope. So David Hogg tweeted They can put up all the fencing around the Capitol. The real threats of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Bolbert will still be inside until GOP leader takes a stand. So if you don't know, Lauren Bolbert and Marjorie Taylor Greene are both very, very strong supporters of gun rights and the Second Amendment. Lauren Bolbert retweeted David Hogg's post with this caption, "David, please, we all saw how tough you were when questioned face to face. Give your keyboard a rest, child." Oh, by the way, note that Hogg is sure to include his preferred pronouns as part of his handle, showing that he's a virtuous, non-masculine man-child. It's David Hogg, parentheses, he, him. And his picture is of him wearing a mask. Oh, he's such a good boy. Such a good boy. The left loves him. The left loves David. He lets you know what his pronouns are. Strangely, they aren't she, her. I would have thought that. Had anybody asked me what are David Hogg's pronouns, I would have thought she, her, or they, them. But no, he puts he, him on here. I guess he had the last word, though. He tweeted, "Ha! Funny enough, last time I checked, I wasn't the congresswoman trying to bully a college student on Twitter. I'll say the same thing to you I said about your evil twin. If you shoot me, you prove my point. Text resign 954 to sign on to the petition calling for Marjorie Taylor Greene to resign." David Hogg. What a mook. Oh, you're bullying a college student. I'm not quite male, I'm not quite female, but I'm he, him. But don't bully me now. Don't bully me. Come on, David, man up, you little boy. Man up. You certainly were man when you were talking about how evil gun owners should be neutered, basically. We don't need those guns. GD effing people. Sitting there proudly swearing like a big boy. You were only a senior in high school. You were talking like a big boy. Like a man's man. What was coming out of your mouth made no sense at all. But now suddenly, oh, she's bullying a college student. Good grief. David Hogg, find something to do. All right, leave the Constitution, leave law-abiding gun owners alone. Go take a time out, please. That's where you belong. You belong in a timeout space, a safe space. Perfect. For college students like you, a safe space would be perfect. It's 10:52 right now. And let's stay with guns for a minute. I love this idea. I wonder how Southern Maine school administrators would react if we were to introduce a mandatory gun safety curriculum. Their heads would probably explode. But you know what? That would be one of the most logical new additions to public school curriculum that you could even ever think of. Instead of gender studies and how to have safe sex with people of the opposite sex or the same sex, which is all school curriculum in various schools now, or telling kids how many genders there are, or talking to them about how the earth is warming up, we're all going to die in 11 years, which is totally untrue. It's totally hype. It's totally scaring and indoctrinating and social engineering our children. It's all lies. Why not use school time for something sensible, like mandatory gun safety classes for all students? recurring gun safety. Every year, they have to take a gun safety course. Doesn't have to be long. Gun safety isn't that hard a thing to swallow, to grab. Well, for some people it is. It is for some idiots who say guns shouldn't be allowed, who really have never held a gun and don't know what a gun feels like or looks like. You've got these whiny-ass babies like this little journalist boy, another man-child, who went out to a range just to see what it was like to shoot an AR-15 and said the explosion and the kick was unbelievable. Sounded like a nuclear bomb going off. I had a bruise on my shoulder for a week, he said. From shooting an AR-15, really, buddy? I could shoot an AR-15 off my nose, and I wouldn't feel the pain in 2 seconds. Your shoulder got black and blue? Really? Are you sure you're not a jellyfish? This guy is true. I named him a couple of weeks ago. It was in the news a few years ago. He's such a little baby, a little typical leftist man-child, or I don't know what his pronouns were. Not going to guess either, but required gun safety should be required, and they're actually doing this or trying to do this now in Tennessee, which is so smart. So smart. But your leftist ideologues, your teachers' unions would hate it. Hate it. We need more reasonable people on school boards. We really do, to make the case for these things. Because the school unions are not on the side of the kids. They're on the side of the teachers. They've proven that time and time again. They don't care about the kids. They care about getting their dues from the teachers who they represent. I mean, look across the nation right now. You've got teachers' unions all over the country. Chicago is one of them. Oh, our teacher, we're not going back to work. Well, but it's safe. No, not going back to work. Not going to let them go back to work. And it's like this in various places. And it's not like that in Maine, thank God. Not now. Will we get gun safety? I doubt it, but we should. Legislation introduced in Tennessee would require publicly funded schools to provide instruction on firearms safety on an ongoing yearly basis, meaning recurring. Now, here's all it is. It would provide annual training for students in the earliest appropriate grade through grade 12. Current law allows for a non-compulsory gun safety class. The new proposal, however, introduced this month by 2 Republicans, will bring instruction to a much broader audience. Under its current language, the measure requires Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission, along with the State Department of Education and Department of Safety, to determine the earliest appropriate grade for students to begin receiving instruction on firearm safety, then provide a program to deliver it. I would say first grade, first or second grade. Once created, each local school district and public charter school will provide the 15-minute instruction annually. 15 minutes, there you go. What's the big deal? 15 minutes annually, either through a video or online materials, starting in the 22-23 school year. The instruction has to be neutral on the politics around guns, and it will end up to each school to determine how to best incorporate the module into the school year. Now, guns aren't a political thing. They should not be a political thing. They're a constitutional right. There should be no politics in it. I know almost as many Democrat shooters as I do Republican shooters. Why the Democrat shooters vote for Democrats who are anti-gun, I don't know. I can't make sense of it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I guess guns aren't that big an issue to them. They are to me. Guns are a game changer to me. I would sooner vote for a Democrat than an anti-gun Republican if the Democrat is pro-gun. That would actually be a tipping point for me. But apparently it's not for Democrats. They'll vote for Joe Biden all day long, even though he is totally into gun control. But it's not really, when you come right down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's not a political issue. It's a constitutional issue. Democrats want protection as much as Republicans do, and vice versa. And Democrats like to hunt as much as, well, not as many Democrats, especially the far lefties, think hunting should be banned, because then you get into the whole, hey, that's why you don't want to eat meat. We don't need to kill animals. You get your PETA types, right? The curriculum in Tennessee would be built around the subject that if a student finds a firearm, and this is great, this is a great way to teach kids, especially younger kids. If a student finds a firearm, and it happens, I don't know, on the playground, on the floor in school, I don't know, you don't know, at the mall, wherever, they should never touch it and immediately notify an adult of where the gun is. The same instruction is key to the NRA's popular Eddy Eagle Gun Safe Accident Prevention Program, which has been taught to over 30 million kids since its introduction in 1988. It's a terrific course. For younger kids, it's a great course. A very likable character, Eddy Eagle, and teaching kids about guns. There's songs. It's really cool, and they learn. The kids learn from it. It's like a Sesame Street for gun owners or for gun safety people. Similarly, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the NSSF, owns Project Child Safe, which goes back to 1999, and recently joined the National Crime Prevention Council to feature McGruff the Crime Dog. Another character likable to kids. The bill has been assigned to the Education Instruction Subcommittee in Tennessee for review. So how about it, Maine? Do we have some people on the school board listening? Do we have some people who are involved in guns who might want to float the idea of gun safety? I have several different people. I'm not on a school board. I haven't had time to run for anything. Maybe I will run for a school board. That is something maybe, thank you for allowing me to be on your radio and talk to you. I've just decided that maybe I will run for school board. I think I could get elected. I really think I could. And if I can't, then I'll never run for anything again in my life because I will be so distraught. Why did all my, I've got to find them now. For whatever reason, and I don't know what it is, things just seem to disappear sometimes from my computer screen. And in this case, it just happened to be a bunch of commercials who pay our bills. So naturally, I have to go in and I have to put them on back. And we're there now. So we're going to be back in just a bit with more of Freedom's Pep Rally. I hope you share. We've got Adam Schiff in all his glory. He is really ticked off at Kevin McCarthy and Donald Trump. And you've got to hear wimpy little man boy Adam Schiff's problems coming up. That's after the news. I'm John James.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
Sales and service by a family who cares. Whittemore and Sons, Whittemore and Sons.
There are some things you can simply never depend on, like buying grapes at the grocery store. Will this bag be sweet? Will it be sour? Who knows, they look the same. But know that you can always count on Whittemore & Sons in our line of Coyote tractors. Coyote tractors are machines made to work, whether it's mowing, tilling, digging, lifting, or hauling. Check out the full line of tough and versatile Coyote tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales in service for over 50 years. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
From work to fun, we'll help you get it done. Whittemore & Sons. Outdoor power equipment.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
If quality and reliability for all of your home heating and cooling needs is important to you, then choose Bob's Cash Fuel in Madison. Starting out with just one truck for deliveries in 1981, they've continued to grow to a locally owned and operated full-service company offering experience and a staff of trusted and loyal professionals. Bob's Cash Fuel offers heating oil, kerosene, diesel, gasoline, propane, and 24-hour emergency service for heating and cooling. And now with their new app, you can order fuel right from your phone, check account information and delivery status, make a payment, and more. Download the app at the App Store today. Bob's Cash Fuel also offers emergency oil and propane delivery to all of their customers. And if you're looking for a new boiler that can give you all of the hot water that you need and reduce your heating fuel costs by up to 40%, then check out the System 2000 from Bob's Cash Fuel in Madison. To heat or cool, and propane too, call Bob's Cash Fuel. Bob's Cash Fuel, Route 148 in Madison, your System 2000 premier dealer.
Hi, this is Teresa Smith, Director of Advising at Kennebec Valley Community College. On behalf of everyone at KVCC, I'd like to wish you all a safe, happy, and healthy new year. And speaking of the new year, it's not too late to take that next step on your educational journey. Classes for the Spring Flex Start semester begin on February 1st, and with more than 30 programs to choose from, KVCC has something for you. Whether you're a high school student who wants to get a jump on college, or a long-term employee hoping to take your career in a new direction, Flex Start is a great option. As always, KVCC's admissions team is ready to answer your questions and guide you through the application process. You can reach us by calling 453-5822, or easier yet, 453-KVCC. Don't spend the winter watching the snow pile up. Make the most of the new year by joining us for Flex Start on February 1st.
Townline Antiques wants to know, what are you shopping for today? Searching for furniture to add to your home? Townline Antiques has beautiful pieces of furniture for every room built to last with quality materials from the past. Thinking of decorating in a classic style? You'll find enchanting home decor, artwork, glassware, and hundreds more items around every corner. Do you love collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics? Townline Antiques has cool, rare, and one-of-a-kind items to add to your collection that you won't find anywhere else. And if you love searching through treasures of the past, here's more great news. Townline Antiques has expanded with extra booth space. Now there's even more quality antiques to browse every time you visit. Plus, there are a limited number of dealer spaces now available. If you'd like to learn more about selling at Townline Antiques, just stop in. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. President Biden will receive a briefing today from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
The briefing comes at the end of a wild week on Wall Street, a tug of war between online stock traders and big hedge funds that resulted in several online brokerages, including Robinhood, prohibiting trading in companies like GameStop. The White House Thursday said its economic team was monitoring the situation with GameStop, but deferred questions to the SEC.
Johnson & Johnson says phase 3 trials of its coronavirus vaccine candidate show that it's 85% effective in preventing severe cases of COVID-19 and that none of those who got sick experienced severe illness. The CDC says it's scaling up surveillance of new variants of the coronavirus. The first cases of the South African variant in the U.S. were detected in South Carolina. Democrats in Congress are rejecting a Republican proposal to split the Biden administration's $1.9 trillion COVID relief plan into smaller parts. This is ABC News. Fresh out of quarantine in Wuhan, China, a team from the World Health Organization is trying to track the exact origin of the coronavirus. It's made its first stop, a hospital that treated some of the first patients. More from ABC's Britt Clennett in Hong Kong.
Although no itinerary has been made public, the team is expected to visit the wet market where the coronavirus was first detected in 2019. Their investigation takes place against a backdrop of skepticism over how much access the team will have on the ground in Wuhan.
11 soldiers at Fort Bliss in Texas have been left injured after ingesting some sort of unknown substance during a training exercise. 2 of the soldiers are in critical condition. A liquid nitrogen leak at a poultry plant in Georgia has killed 6 people and left another 11 sick. The number of Americans signing contracts to buy homes dipped last month compared to November, but the National Association of Realtors says it was still a record high for the month of December. Compared to a year before, the contract signings were up over 21%. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
O'Reilly. Need new wiper blades? Not sure which ones to buy? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your specific car and even install them for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades, plus earn double O Rewards points. There's no better time to replace your wiper blades. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The thing about comparing rates at Progressive.com is that by now you've heard a lot of ads about comparing rates at Progressive.com. We probably don't even need the words comparing rates anymore to remind you that seasoning steaks at Progressive.com is an easy way to save on car insurance, or that swimming in trousers helps you find the lowest rate. And that's the thing about foraging for truffles. You've heard a lot of ads about standing tiptoe on a cinder block. Compare rates and sing softly to a wounded field mouse and save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations.
It's time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris only represents terrorists and arsonists and people who murder retired cops in St. Louis. I know that the Democrats have turned into the Marxist Party. I know they hate America. They hate the Constitution. And if the Democrats get in charge, we will be a suburb of Venezuela. And I hope everybody out there knows that we, the people, have an absolute moral obligation to vote God, family, country, freedom, Constitution.
We did.
And if you don't vote those basic principles, the communists and the Marxists would like to thank you.
The John James Show is on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Oh, I know that ship has sailed, but Ted has such a good message. I leave it in the rotation. 11:10 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Max says, my daughter has been shooting my AR since she was 6 years old. My grandson was about that age when he tried, but his arms weren't long enough at the time, even with the stock in. Okay, I just noticed that had a little bit of a vulgarity in it, that one I just posted. But yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate, my friend. That's Robert. Adam Schiff. Yeah, that's the guy we're talking about now. Yesterday afternoon, Adam Schiff. I've got to be careful with that now that I've seen Robert's post. Adam Schiff ripped GOP House Leader Kevin McCarthy because Kevin McCarthy, a new breed of Republican, met with former President Trump in Florida to discuss how to take back the House in 2022. I got to look ahead at this point, right? So go ahead, Adam. Go ahead. You don't like it? It's free country right now. Is there going to be an executive order that goes along with the impeachment or the censure that will disallow Donald Trump to ever run for office ever again? Is there going to be an executive order going along with that saying that members of Congress are no longer allowed to meet with Donald Trump? Here's what Adam Schiff said.
It is very consistent with Kevin McCarthy, which is nothing if not malleable to whichever direction the wind is blowing. And he thinks the wind is blowing in Donald Trump's favor, and he is willing to embrace that, notwithstanding the destruction that man brought to this country. And it's just reprehensible. But that's where the GOP leadership is. And I don't know how many years it's going to take for that party to purge itself of Donald Trump. We need two functioning parties in this country for our system to work. Right now, we don't. I think we see that played out in the debate over the relief package and whether we can get a bipartisan package done.
Oh, go ahead. You can purge Donald Trump from politics in Washington, but you cannot purge the ideology that Donald Trump fostered over the last 4 years, because it is good. It is righteous. It is American. It is freedom. So what Adam Schiff says when he calls Donald Trump evil and reprehensible, what he is saying is adhering to the Constitution and the founding documents of America is reprehensible. The debate over the relief package, he said, Donald Trump offered $1.8 trillion or more. He said, or more, in October. And Adam Schiff, your own Nancy Pelosi, who cared so much about the children, poo-pooed it because she wanted to wait until after the election when President Biden could be the hero. We aren't going to forget that. He has. Adam Schiff has. Adam Schiff never acknowledged it. But we know. We heard Nancy Pelosi almost in tears, crocodile tears, talking with Wolf Blitzer last year, talking about the children. $1.8 trillion. No, we're not going to accept that. Because it didn't grease the palms of her supporters enough. The supporters who were having no trouble surviving during coronavirus, but she wanted to grease their palms anyway. And I keep bringing up the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, which has been closed, which received Stimulus 1 and Stimulus 2 already. But she wanted more for her peeps. She didn't care about the children. She's never cared about the children or the homelessness in her district. Never cared about it. She only cares about making herself and the Democrats look good. Now, on Wolf Blitzer's The Situation Room on CNN, Blitzer echoed a quote from Pelosi who said, "The enemy is within," meaning the Republicans in Congress. He then asked Adam Schiff, "Do you agree?"
Well, sadly, I do agree. You look at some of these members, including Representative Green, who have threatened in social media prior to her election other members of Congress. You have members like her who have suggested that attacks against students, murderous attacks on high school campuses like at Parkland, were somehow faked, fraudulent, or false flag operations. And they're being rewarded by Kevin McCarthy with assignments on the Education Committee. The GOP leadership is becoming little more than a cult, and a dangerous cult.
Oh, my word. So why is Marjorie Taylor Greene so dangerous? Now, admittedly, she went a little farther than I would have. She did call the Parkland shooting a false flag. And she was a big QAnon supporter, which she has backed off of. She has backed away from that big time. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, Greene filled her feed with extremist content for years before she was elected in November, becoming the first open supporter of QAnon, an extremist ideology based on false claims, to win a seat in Congress. In a January 2019 post, Greene liked a comment advocating a bullet to the head of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, according to a screenshot published by CNN's K-File. Well, you know, that was obviously not a very bright thing for Marjorie Taylor Greene to do. But she liked a comment. What? Okay, so is that where we are now? If somebody likes a comment you disagree with, maybe it was an accident. Maybe she accidentally liked it. That's a possibility. I mean, all it takes is your thumb to hit the wrong icon. I've done that many times. I've liked and then I've quickly unliked something. I don't know how many things I shouldn't have liked that I've liked, but that can be done. Maybe she intended to like it, but it's a like on social media. In another post from 2018, a commentator asked, "Now do we get to hang them?" referring to former President Barack Obama and former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. Also, according to K-File, because CNN likes nothing more than to excoriate people on the right. In response, Greene did not denounce the suggestion of execution and instead wrote, "Stage is being set, players are being put in place, we must be patient. This must be done perfectly or liberal judges would let them off." So, if you are an objective person, you would understand that the word hang them oftentimes, and in this case clearly did refer to simple justice being done. She expanded on the thought, bringing up the courts. Hang them. You want to hang them in the court of law. And what are they saying? They're saying she wants to execute the Democrats. That's not what that post meant, or at least that's not how she took it. But the way they read it the way they want. And that gives them the ammunition they need. They read things the way they want to. They interpret things wholly unfairly. And they get away with it because their base sucks right up to them. And they retweet it, they repost it, they share it. Look at this killer. She wants to execute Obama and Hillary Clinton. No, nothing of the kind. That's not what that post referred to, at least as far as Marjorie Taylor Greene was concerned, because she expanded on it. Remember, there was no worry by the left, no misinterpretation by the right or mainstream media when Chuck Schumer stood outside the Supreme Court during an abortion rally and said this.
"I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price."
Well, that was pretty clear, left. Why did nobody on the left come out and say, well, that was just wrong. You're threatening Supreme Court justices. Instead, what did we have from the left? You know. That's how they roll. That's how they roll. 11:21 right now in the wee hours of Saturday morning. Don't know if you heard about this. An unknown assailant planted a bomb at the First Works Baptist Church in El Monte, California, a suburb of Los Angeles. The explosion shattered the church's windows and led the pastor to hold services elsewhere. Now, this explosion followed weeks of protests against the church in California over the pastor's extreme anti-LGBT rhetoric. The Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLC, had accused the church of being a hate group, placing it on a hate map with the Ku Klux Klan. The SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, has long faced criticism for weaponizing its hate group accusation against ideological opponents. So if you don't agree, you need to be shut up. You need to be stifled. You need to be canceled. The SPLC gained notoriety for bankrupting true hate groups like the Ku Klux Klan, but in recent decades expanded the Klan Watch program to brand mainstream conservative and Christian groups as hate groups because of what we believe. In 2012, a deranged man targeted the Washington, D.C. offices of the Family Research Council, intending to shoot everyone in the building. The attempted terrorist later confessed it had targeted FRC due to the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate map. While the SPLC rightly condemned the attack, it continues to brand FRC a hate group on trumped-up charges that the FRC uses pseudoscience, their opinion, to demonize LGBT people. Although the SPLC does not come right out and say it, its attacks on FRC imply an accusation that FRC encourages violence against LGBT people, which it doesn't and never has. But that's the implication. And thus, you get the outrage, you get the activism, you get the threats, and some of the threats are carried out. According to the PJ Media article written by Tyler O'Neill, he is the author of the article in PJ Media. He says, quote, I wrote a book, Making Hate Pay, the Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center, in order to expose the SPLC's nefarious impact on American culture, particularly through its hate group accusation. The SPLC routinely uses the accusation to tar mainstream Christian organizations that follow the Bible, on sexual issues. So if you're a Christian who follows the Bible and believes the Bible, you are a hate group. You are part of a hate group if you believe the Bible. If you believe what the Bible says. Is that a little tweaked? Is that just a little warped? Is that just a little bit out of the mainstream? He said, the author went ahead and said, however, I must acknowledge that the SPLC is right to condemn the First Works Baptist Church in El Monte. The First Works Baptist Church is not a hate group on the same level as the KKK, but its pastor has called for the U.S. government to kill homosexuals for their sexual orientation, a stance mainstream Christians loudly condemn. So, yeah, you do have radicals in the movement. Now, for this minister, did the minister, should the church have been bombed? No. Should the pastor have been condemned? Yeah. That was inciting violence. To say that homosexuals should be killed by the government is inciting violence. That is truly inciting violence. Unlike what Donald Trump did, saying peacefully march to the Capitol to let your voices be heard. No, I'm sorry. I'm a Christian. I am. I'm an unapologetic Christian. Yeah, I believe the Bible. Even on things that don't make me feel good about myself. Maybe it gives me something to strive for in order to be better. One of the things in the Bible this pastor overlooked, and if he's a true Bible-believing Christian, which he clearly isn't, thou shalt not kill is a commandment. Yeah, the sexual thing is true too. The Bible does condemn homosexuality. But it also says, thou shalt not kill. It also says, judge not, lest ye be judged. Now, I'm not a biblical scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know more than this pastor does when it comes to things of a social nature, apparently. Plus, the Constitution says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and all men and women are created equal. In other words, we believe, I believe, you believe, I hope, that as long as somebody does not infringe on your constitutional rights or mine, live the life you want to. You cannot condone it. That's fine. But you don't have to speak out necessarily against it, accusing people and threatening people. You don't have to do that. Live your life. They aren't bothering you. Don't bother them. I told this story one time. I went to a church a few times in Liberty. I probably shouldn't even say the name of the church. I won't say the name of the church, but Liberty is not a very big town. So I went to a church in Liberty that some of my family members went to for a few services. The last service I went to there, the pastor stood up on the pulpit and he was preaching a service and he was talking about gays and homosexuality. And he referred to gay people and he excoriated them, I guess, for lack of a better word, excoriated them and called them queers. And that was my last time. And that pastor may not even be there anymore. I don't know if he is or isn't. But that was my last time in that church. Because I also believe in redemption. Again, I don't mean to get overly religious to you on here, but most people who believe in the Christian faith, whether you do or not, people are accepting it. I work with people who are agnostic, who are atheists, who says, but I'm all for, what you believe. If you have faith, good for you. They're very supportive of that. But I'm not a radical. I believe in redemption. If this pastor feels so strongly about and against homosexuality, wouldn't you want to welcome anybody of all ilks, of all walks of life into your church and preach your message? And maybe if you are compelling enough, at least give them a reason to do some soul searching. And maybe think, well, you know what, maybe I'm not, or maybe they won't change at all. But that's not your call to make. Your call is to preach your message without offending people just to offend them. Now, some of the things in a message are going to be offensive to everybody at some point. I can't tell you how, and they call it in church, they call it have I stepped on your toes? Meaning, have I said something that makes you feel guilty? Yeah, just about every service, actually. But I will go back to a service like that, and maybe I will see a need that I need some redemption on some of this stuff. I need to change my life in some way. But when you start right out by calling homosexuals, yeah, they're queers, in a very angry, vitriolic way, by the way, then I'm sorry, you lost me completely, and you've lost anybody who may be there who is gay or questioning and could have their life change. You've ruined it. So this minister, yeah, I absolutely hate group as far as the minister is concerned. If this minister had stood on the pulpit and called for the government to kill homosexuals, Trust me, that would have been my last service. I would have been out of there in a heartbeat. And anybody who stayed after he preached that, maybe they are complicit in that mindset. And that's wrong. That is just wrong. There's no question about that. I'm not saying this as an opinion. That is wrong. On any level, on the biblical level, on the judgment level, on your basic, general public level, you're wrong. But for the Southern Poverty Law Center to just immediately throw anybody who's a Christian Bible-believing person under the bus just for what they believe, which does incentivize people to go do harm to others, then that's wrong too. Two wrongs do not make a right. Right? Okay. I think we're on the same page here. And again, I don't mean to be a preacher. I wear my faith proudly. I don't preach because I know, probably most everybody listening, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, you're probably a better person than I am. I've always had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, but hey, I know my faults. I know I'm not a perfect human, not nearly. I strive every day to be more like my dad. I will never, that ship has sailed, baby. I will never, ever be as good as my dad in my eyes. I'll tell you that right now. So I've got some pretty big shoes to fill, and I'm not going to be filling them anytime soon. It's 11:33 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. We've got some Joe Biden stuff to get to here, and we've got to be getting to it too, I guess. I just looked at the clock, and the time is ticking by. So let's venture into the Joe Biden realm. Seeing as he is the new leader of the free world, the New York Times, of all places, is now criticizing President Biden. The New York Times, who could not get enough hate levied on Donald Trump, has now at least moved on. It seemingly, anyway. I don't read the New York Times, except for online stories. But they seem to have moved on, unlike many of the Democrats in Congress. New York Times has ripped Joe Biden for using so many executive orders. Sorry, I just was distracted by a telemarketer calling me. So here it is. In a piece on Wednesday headlined, "Ease Up on the Executive Orders, Joe." This is the New York Times. I love this. The paper's editorial board said the raft of executive order is no way to make new law. And you think Trump signed a lot? You think Obama signed a lot? Oh, they got nothing on Joe Biden. He's trying to get all he can get done before Kamala Harris steps in. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make a mark on, think about this. Does that not make sense? He's trying to get as much in as he can so he can have a legacy before Kamala Harris necessarily takes over, because he is losing it quickly. I mean, listen to me. I'm not making fun of this. I'm stating a fact. Have you noticed if he does anything along toward evening, it's a disaster? Whether it's trying to put a pen back into his pocket or I don't know what I'm signing. Yeah, he said that. Have you heard of I don't know if it's called sundown syndrome or not, people who are and this is where I can't believe Jill Biden and Hunter, the loving son, didn't step in and say, "Come on, Dad, honey, come on now. You really shouldn't be doing this." "Yeah, but I want to be president." Okay, all right, okay, go be president. But no, you're going to have to step aside pretty soon because you're getting senile. And he does seem to have that sundown syndrome going, where he really is, and it's not his fault. It's nature. And he's an elderly man. He's 78 years old. And so, while Donald Trump at 78 may be just as vibrant and just as have the mental acuity he does now, Joe Biden just doesn't have it. I mean, I look at speeches he did several years ago. He's always been a bit of a bimbo, but now it's like he can't stay on a thought, and he coughs a lot. Have you noticed that? He's excuse me, several times during his speech. He did that the other night. He was making some sort of a speech. He forgot that he was president, not Donald Trump, and then he started coughing. Now back to the New York Times article. Biden's first 3 orders signed shortly after he took the oath of office last Wednesday recommitted the U.S. to the Paris Climate Agreement, promoted racial equality in healthcare, and required that anti-COVID-19 masks be worn in all federal buildings. He also signed orders ending Trump's 2017 travel ban on a group of predominantly Muslim countries, including Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen. He halted construction of the U.S.-Mexico border wall. He rejoined the World Health Organization, the lovers of China, the people who are complicit with Xi Jinping to allow the coronavirus to come here and all over the world. He extended a pandemic ban on evictions and foreclosures, suspended student loan payments, reversed Trump environmental deregulations, and affirmed the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, DACA, that protects from deportation people brought illegally to the U.S. as children. He signed an executive order that will allow males who identify as females to compete in women's and girls' sports and use the bathroom of their choosing. And he's still signing them. And this is what the New York Times was critical of. The New York Times. How far do you, as a Democrat, have to go to offend the New York Times? Now let's move to another venue. Let's move to the Catholic Church for a minute. Now, you know that a couple of years ago, Joe Biden was refused communion because he is pro-baby killing. No, I'm sorry, not pro-choice, pro-baby killing. Pro-choice means it's the woman's choice to do something, which I am fully in agreement with. A woman should have the choice to own whatever firearm she wants. A woman should have the choice to work in whatever job she wants that she is capable of. A woman should have the choice to buy and drive whatever car she wants. But a woman's choice ends and a man's choice where somebody else's human rights begin. So while the left says health care is a human right, which also, by the way, takes another human to administer, another human who has gone through many years of expensive schooling and pays enormous amounts in malpractice insurance. It involves another human's rights. They say that health care is a human right somehow, although I can't find it in the Constitution, but they say that the right to end the life of a child is a woman's right. Well, the baby doesn't have anything to say about it. Ha ha! Got you there, didn't we? The weakest among us should be heard as loudly as those who are the most powerful. That says it all, doesn't it? Doesn't that say it all? They say they hear the weak. The left hears the weakest. They always pre-do the weakest among us, the oppressed. the people of color, the minorities, they are the least among us. No, they're not. No, they're not. They have the same rights. They have the same abilities. You don't think they do. You convince them they don't. That's how you win. You convince them they don't, that they're down and out, that they're beyond help without you. You're not helping the weakest among us by catering to every need they might ever have. You are enabling their weakness. Let them live. Bolster them. Help them where they need help. Many great people who started out being oppressed mostly by the left have risen above it and become amazing leaders. Martin Luther King, Senator Tim Scott in South Carolina, Leo Terrell. I mean, you could go on all day. They understand the oppression is from within the Democratic Party. But the babies are, in fact, the weakest among us. And they, the unborn babies, are oppressed because as soon, and I say this and I mean it, and you can argue it all you want, but you can't change science. Right? Am I right? You can't change science. Follow me here. I'm not talking about whether you consider it a clump of cells or just a single cell or not. Here's what I'm stating, and this is fact. This is science. And again, I'm not a scientist, but I'm no dummy either. When that egg is fertilized, first of all, let me say it takes a man and it takes a woman. That's all it takes. Anything less, anything different, not going to work. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what you identify as. The fact, the science, it takes a man and a woman. Those are the two genders. Once that egg is fertilized, the woman carries the egg, the man carries the sperm. That's a little sex lesson for you here, little birds and bees. Once that egg is fertilized, if you believe in the Creator, which I do, and many people on the right do, many more people on the right. I'm not saying there aren't good religious, good Bible-believing people on the left, not saying that. But by and large, most of your people who believe in a Creator, who believe in a higher being, are on the right. I mean, you can deny that. Maybe I don't know what the stats are. It doesn't matter to me. But the basic message here is, once that egg is fertilized, there has been a trajectory set. That trajectory begins at that point. Okay, so you can say it's a clump of cells. You can say it's a cell. You can legally go in there and kill it. Kill it because I've got a job to attend to. I've got things I want to do in my life. Don't have sex or get protected. Whoa, it's an epiphany. An epiphany from a dumb radio guy, a hick in Central Maine. How about that? He had an epiphany, and I think he's right. I think he's absolutely right. It takes a man and a woman, the egg's fertilized, a trajectory is set. Don't end what has begun. Do not end what has begun. Science, nature, another human being, murder. See where I'm going here? Okay, good. So Roman Catholic Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, a former papal ambassador to the United States, declared in an interview published Monday that practicing Catholic Joe Biden's ties to China and his globalist policies make him an irreparable disaster as president. Not to mention, he goes against the teachings with his views on abortion. Here's what the Archbishop said. It would be an irreparable disaster if Joe Biden, who is heavily suspected of being complicit in the Chinese dictatorship, would be designated as President of the United States. He said that in an interview on Steve Bannon's War Room. Steve Bannon, of course, was with Breitbart, and a former White House chief advisor under Donald Trump. So we've got the New York Times. Now we've got an archbishop coming out against Biden. Now, this is supposed to be friendly territory for the president. So listen to this. 32% of respondents, a third of respondents, said they do not approve of Biden's job performance since he was inaugurated. A 58% majority expressed approval for now. 1,200 registered voters polled by Rasmussen using a mixed mode approach, whatever the hell that means. So if a third of the people polled disapprove of Joe Biden's performance now, that means the other 2/3 simply aren't paying attention. or that number would be different. I'm willing to bet. So how bad is Biden? Well, for a chunk of President Trump's first term, Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, and the rest of the swamp tried without success to pin Ukrainian corruption on Trump when it was Joe and Hunter that should have been investigated, still should, along with the pal Devin Archer and former John Kerry, John Kerry. Archer is a former John Kerry staffer, and of course, Chris Hines is John Kerry's stepson. Now, some newly obtained documents show how Hunter and Devin Archer secured their jobs in this gas company that they knew nothing about, the country or the industry. And they made big money off of their ignorance. Thanks to Joe Biden, who apparently was all too happy to include something helpful in one of his speeches about his son. Now, you really can't get more slimy than that. So he included he touted his son in a speech to help secure his job with Burisma. And then he said he committed quid pro quo. He didn't say the words, but he said, you won't get the $1 billion if you don't fire that prosecutor that was looking into Burisma where his son was. John Solomon of Just the News broke this down recently. And I want you to listen to this.
For more than a year now, since the Hunter Biden Ukraine scandal first burst onto the scene, one of the remaining questions has been, how exactly did Hunter Biden and his business partner, Devin Archer, land a lucrative multi-million-dollar relationship with a Ukrainian gas company known as Burisma Holdings? By Hunter Biden's own acknowledgement, he didn't have any Ukrainian experience, didn't have any natural gas experience, and probably got the job, he says, as a result of his last name, a la Biden. But today, at Just the News, we have obtained emails that the FBI has possessed for a year, going back to last December, that show that Hunter Biden specifically schemed, planned, plotted with Devin Archer to take advantage of the fact that his father, the vice president, Joe Biden, was visiting Ukraine in April of 2014, and he was going to use that to persuade the Ukrainian company, Burisma, to hire him, put him on the board, start paying him large amounts of money. In fact, as part of the effort, he writes his colleagues that we should take credit for the fact that Joe Biden, his father, mentioned natural gas in his speech while in Ukraine. He wanted Burisma to know that so that they would hire him on the board and as a consultant. These documents are explosive. They clearly show Hunter Biden was trading on his father's name consciously, willfully, and skillfully. to get the big contract he ultimately landed.
Ah, now that's just the Ukraine. Joe helped Hunter, Christopher Hines, John Kerry's stepson, and Devin Archer land $1 billion+ contract in China with one of their LLCs. I believe it was Rosemont Seneca was the name of it. Pure as the driven snow, old Joe Biden. How is he even electable? He should have been impeached before he was elected, this guy. He does not have America's best interests at heart. Donald Trump did. Like him or not, Donald Trump did. I'm sorry, I'm missing some of the comments here. I will go back and look at these. Shannon, Robert, thank you very much. I'm seeing them all, and I will look at them. You shall not murder. Correction. Number 6. No, actually, no. No, I will take issue with that, Mikkel. It depends on what version of the Bible. I'm going by the King James version of the Bible. The 6th commandment is thou shalt not kill. Exodus 20, verse 13. Thou shalt not kill. Murder, and I don't know what Bible it says murdering. Killing, murder. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the difference in definitions is, if there is a difference. But there are different versions of the Bible. That's obviously a different version with murder in it. And I'm not familiar with that one. Did you know the Lord's Prayer is also different in a lot of Bibles? But until I started, going to a lot of things at Catholic churches, because my in-laws are Catholic, so we, weddings and funerals and all kinds of things. We've been in the Catholic Church a lot since I got married. But before the Catholic Church, I had never heard, forgive us those who trespass as we forgive those who trespass against us. I had never heard that. Never. Because in the King James Version of the Bible, which just about every church I ever went to uses, it's forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. That was supposedly now, that was the literal translation from Greek. So, little minutia, but I thought I'd throw that out. Every once in a while, I like to show that I have a little knowledge outside of the realm of ham radios and guns and politics. Not much. Very little. I can't build a birdhouse, but I can quote some scripture. How about that, huh? You proud of me? It's 11:55. Oh, my word. Where has the time gone? I've got to go. We are out of time. We're literally out of time. We haven't taken a break this hour. And so I've left us with a fairly lengthy one. Coming up, we have got Conserving the Maine Outdoors. And it's a repeat. It's a good one, though. It is David Trahan, the executive director of the Sportsman's Alliance of Maine, former executive director, co-host this week, not Mike Shaw, former executive director, former Secretary of State, current Maine auditor, Matt Dunlap is the co-host. So stick around. Have a great weekend. I will see you Monday. Hopefully we'll have Mike back with us on Monday morning. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Electrical repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and let Kennebec Electric and Lighting take care of it for you. Kennebec Electric has offered professional electric and lighting service and expert installation in homes and businesses for over 37 years, and they stand behind that experience with a guarantee on all their work. Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including installations and repairs, at 861-7